Injustice doesn't always wear a badge, but in Oakwood County, Georgia, it often did. One quiet morning, a black family stopped for breakfast expecting peace, not punishment. Sheriff Wade Carver and Deputy Harlan Crow clocked them the second they entered. Polite smiles, clean clothes, outsiders. To those men, that meant targets, not neighbors. To them, Andre Vaughn was just another name, another face. They didn't see the Navy SEAL under the calm eyes or the discipline forged in real combat. When their disrespect started rising toward a showdown, they never realized they'd pushed a man trained to survive chaos. Comment where you're watching from and subscribe, because tomorrow's story hits hard. The early sun painted Georgia highways gold as Andre loaded the last bag into their black SUV. Visiting Aunt Gloria in Savannah had refilled them with laughter and warmth. "Did you double-check the guest room?" Renee asked, reading glasses on. Root pulled up. Andre smiled. "Yes, ma'am, and I checked under the porch swing, too." "Dad," Jordan protested from the back, 18 now, taller and bolder. "That was one time," Andre chuckled, shutting the trunk with a solid final thud. Renee squeezed Andre's hand as he settled in. "We raised him to face things head on," she said, pride steady in her voice. Andre nodded like it was a vow. Andre adjusted the rearview mirror, catching Jordan's reflection. Older, sharper, dreaming about engineering scholarships. Jordan leaned forward. "Can we talk about your SEAL training?" "Aunt Gloria mentioned you swimming with sharks," Jordan pressed. Andre kept his eyes on the road, corners of his mouth lifting. "Not sharks, just angry dolphins." Renee arched an eyebrow. "That's a story." Andre shrugged, his usual warning that something good was coming, then started describing Phase 2, long-distance swims off San Diego. The miles rolled by with laughter as Andre told it like a casual adventure. He never bragged, never name-dropped medals. Most people stayed clueless unless they forced truth. Conversation drifted to Jordan's robotics competition and Renee's third-grade science fair plans. Inside the SUV, cool air fought Georgia heat. Renee scrolled once, then smiled. "Breakfast?" "Real breakfast," she insisted. Jordan agreed instantly. Andre scanned exit signs. "Let's try something local. Little places usually cook like they mean it." 20 minutes later, rural roads replaced highway lanes. Pine shadows striped the asphalt. Renee pointed to a sign. "Mabel's Place. Reviews say the biscuits and gravy are legendary." Andre took the exit, passing a rusted pump gas station and a small grocery with sun-bleached night ads. The diner sat at the end of a gravel lot. White paint, blue trim, worn pride. The lot was half full. Pickup trucks, county plates, a few tired sedans. Andre parked near the entrance. Jordan unbuckled slowly, uncertainty creeping into his tone. "This looks different." "Sometimes the best meals come from the most unexpected places," Andre said casually, but his eyes were already tracking doors, windows, angles, habits that never quit. He held the door as the bell jingled. Heat and bacon smell rolled out together. Andre stepped in last, letting his family enter first, protective without making it obvious. Inside felt like a time capsule. Cracked red vinyl booths, chrome stools, older men hunched at the counter. Conversations didn't stop, but they stumbled like someone hit pause. Jordan's eyes fixed near the kitchen window. A Confederate flag, yellowed and greasy at the edges. Andre noticed, kept his face blank, refusing to feed the provocation. Renee's hand found Andre's, squeezing a message they both knew by heart. "We're together. We're safe together. A waitress approached. Gray bun, name tag, Betty. 3 for breakfast? Betty asked. Professional, but cold. Andre answered with steady courtesy. Yes, ma'am. A booth is fine, wherever you've got room. Betty led them near the front window. Jordan slid in first, Renee beside him. Andre took the outer seat, back to the wall, eyes sweeping the diner like quiet radar. Coffee? Betty asked. Yes, Renee said, smiling anyway. And orange juice for our son. Jordan, testing adulthood, added, Coffee's fine, Mom. Andre nodded. 3 coffees. Betty walked off. Conversations restarted, but glances kept drifting back. Jordan stared at his menu without reading, jaw tight. An anger he'd learned to keep, caged. Renee pointed out hash browns with cheese and jalapenos, trying to lighten the moment. Jordan murmured agreement, but his eyes kept sliding back to that flag. Andre tapped Jordan's menu gently. Focus on what matters right now, he coached. Choose your battles. Sometimes, simply sitting there, calm, was its own resistance. Betty returned with steaming mugs. Ready to order? She asked. Before they could answer, the bell jingled again. Heavy boots, leather creak, the sound of authority entering. The diner tightened. Some people sat straighter, others shrank. Andre didn't turn. He recognized the rhythm of a duty belt. A voice called, Morning, Deputy Crow. Jordan met Andre's eyes. Andre gave a tiny nod. Stay calm. Betty took Renee's order, biscuits and gravy, fruit on the side, hands moving faster than her face. At the counter, Crow laughed loud on purpose, telling a story that used the word boy like a weapon. The chuckles around him sounded practiced, not amused. Andre ordered the breakfast special, eggs over easy, spicy hash browns. Voice level. Betty turned to Jordan last, tone sharper. Jordan ordered French toast with bacon. Plates arrived with a little too much force. Syrup slid. Biscuits shifted. Renee politely asked for napkins and cream. Betty dropped them like she didn't want her fingers touching. They ate anyway. The food was good. Crispy hash browns, fluffy biscuits, golden toast. Jordan talked robotics between bites. Renee kept her voice bright, like sunlight could protect them. Crow's voice filled the room from the counter. A uniform means something in this town, he declared. It demands respect. A few nodded. Others stared hard at their plates. Betty refilled coffee, hands trembling as she reached their booth, spilling a few drops. Sorry, she muttered, fear and shame tangled together, then hurried off like she'd been burned. Crow finally turned fully toward them. His eyes dragged over Renee, Jordan, Andre. Slow, deliberate. A smirk curled. Well, well. Looks like we've got visitors. He pushed off the stool and approached, boots clicking on linoleum. Morning, folks, he said, smile empty. Just doing my Sunday check-in? Everyone enjoying breakfast? Andre nodded once. Everything's fine, Deputy. Thank you. Crow's gaze pinned Jordan. Haven't seen you around. You passing through, boy? Renee answered steady. Visiting family heading home. Crow pulled a notepad he didn't use. Trouble at the convenience store last night. Young man about your age. He gestured with his pen at Jordan like he was pointing at a suspect photo. You might match the description. Jordan's fork clattered. I've been with my family all weekend. Crow leaned closer, savoring the tension. How old are you? Jordan swallowed. 18. Crow repeated it slowly, like the number gave him permission. Got ID? Crow demanded. Renee's voice sharpened. He's with his parents. This is harassment. Crow cut her off. Ma'am, don't interfere with police business. Andre asked calmly, what exactly was stolen? Crow's hand hovered near his holster. That's not your concern. Since you're asking questions, show me your IDs. All of you! Andre moved slowly, visible, placing his license on the table. Renee followed, fingers trembling. Crow studied them too long. Atlanta, he said, enjoying the distance between worlds. Crow handed them back, then stared at Jordan. Stand up! Need to make sure you're not carrying anything dangerous. Renee's jaw tightened. You have no probable cause. Crow's face flushed. I have reasonable suspicion. That's all I need. The diner went silent. Even the kitchen noises seemed to fade, like the building itself was listening. Jordan slid out of the booth slowly. Crow grabbed his upper arm hard. Jordan flinched, body rigid. Betty froze mid-step. The cook gripped the service window like a lifeline. Andre's posture changed. Still calm. Now, storm still. Back off, he warned, voice controlled. Crow hissed. You threatening an officer? Andre answered, advising you to stop. Time stretched. Phones began to rise. An older man near the door stood, watching like he'd seen this movie before. Jordan held still, breathing the way Andre taught him. Crow's fingers tightened, but his eyes locked on Andre, sensing a miscalculation, and pride kept his hand in place. The Confederate flag hung limp, suddenly smaller than Andre's composure. Andre moved, fluid, precise. His left hand caught Crow's wrist, pressing a control point until Crow's grip opened. His right hand trapped Crow's gun hand before it reached leather. In one seamless motion, Andre rotated Crow's arm behind his back and guided him down. No wild violence, just perfect leverage. Crow dropped to his knees, shocked and humiliated. Jordan stepped away, rubbing his bruised arm. Renee stayed seated, eyes locked on Andre, trusting him. Stay still, Andre told Crow quietly. I don't want to hurt you. Crow struggled and failed. You're assaulting an officer, he spat. Andre stayed calm. I'm preventing you from violating my son's rights. I'll release you when you're safe. Someone's phone made the distinct sound of recording starting. The room held its breath. Andre released Crow with hands raised, compliance clear, as sirens began to grow louder outside. Crow scrambled up, shaking, confidence bleeding out fast. He snarled, Backup's coming! You're done, boy! Andre didn't argue. He simply kept his palms open and his face steady. In the chaos, Andre's credential wallet slipped from his pocket and fell open on the floor. A silver badge caught the light. Rows of ribbons, military IDs, deployment photos. An elderly man leaned down, reading, voice quavering as disbelief turned into respect. The diner murmured as if a spell broke. Crow's expression shifted. Anger suddenly mixed with fear. The words landed like thunder. U.S. Navy SEAL, Silver Star, Bronze Star with Valor, combat action. Phones lifted higher. Even people who'd stayed quiet looked ashamed now. Crow glanced between Andre's raised hands and the open wallet, trying to reconcile his fantasy of power with the reality standing in front of him. Disciplined, decorated, unshaken. Red and blue light strobed through the windows as backup burst in, with weapons drawn. On your knees, hands behind your head, a deputy shouted, gun trained on Andre's chest. Andre complied smoothly. Movements deliberate and non-threatening. The elderly man tried to step forward with the wallet. Officers, mistake! He's... Crow snatched it and pocketed it fast. This thug assaulted a deputy, Crow announced loudly, voice pitched for control. Renee stood up, teacher authority sharp. That's a lie. He was harassing our son. Crow snapped, step back or you're next. Jordan surged, But Renee grabbed his sleeve hard, protecting him from giving them an excuse. Andre caught a bystander's eye. "Keep filming!" Crow ordered cuffs. Steel clicked around Andre's wrists. Cold, final. Betty whispered, "This ain't right." Crow turned on her. "Want to join him?" She retreated, shaking. A deeper siren approached. A black SUV pulled in. Sheriff Wade Carver stepped out, brass stars shining, iron gray hair, eyes like chips of winter, comfortable in absolute authority. Carver entered and surveyed everything. Phones raised, shaken diners, Andre cuffed, Jordan furious. His face gave nothing away. "Clear the diner," he ordered, voice flat and final. "Now," Carver added, "or we start collecting phones and witnesses for obstruction." People filed out reluctantly, still recording through windows, fear fighting the urge to do right. Renee stepped forward. "My husband defended our son. He's a decorated veteran." Carver cut her off with practiced sympathy. "Assault is serious, ma'am. We'll sort it at the station." Two deputies hauled Andre up. He stood tall anyway, dignity intact. "Renee," he said calmly, "call Bennett at the firm." Crow shoved him towards the door like baggage. Renee demanded to know where they were taking him. Carver replied mildly, "You have the right to leave this diner before I find a reason to arrest you too. Take your boy home." Outside, sunlight mocked the scene, glinting off cuffs and the sheriff's star. Carver leaned close to Crow, voice low. Jordan watched their mouths move, unable to hear, yet understanding. "County 4 is off the main grid," Carver murmured. "No cameras, no records. Keep him there until I say." Crow nodded, a mean smile creeping back onto his face. The patrol car rolled away with Andre inside. Renee held Jordan close, mind racing, storing details like evidence, names, threats, plates, the way fear moved through a room. That night, a motel AC rattled against thick Georgia heat. Renee sat on a sagging bed, phone pressed to her ear, listening to endless rings that never turned into help. Jordan paced the worn carpet in the same six-step loop, fists clenched. "They're blocking us," he said. Renee tried another firm, ringing, then dropping, like someone cut the line. She tried again and again. "Nothing." Jordan's voice cracked. "They've had Dad all day. No call, no lawyer, nothing." The helplessness in the room felt physical. "Sit down, baby," Renee urged, teacher instinct steadying her. Jordan couldn't. "We don't even know where County 4 is. It's not on any map," he said, breathing hard. The table held empty coffee cups and untouched wrappers. Time crawled. Renee's hands shook as she dialed civil rights numbers again. Each attempt ended the same. "Ring, ring, silence!" A sharp knock made them both jump. "Management," a voice called. Renee opened the door to Mr. Hollis, the motel manager, professional mask gone, hostility barely hidden. "Complaints about noise," Hollis said, though the neighboring rooms were empty. "And there's an issue with your credit card." Renee's stomach dropped. "We already paid for 3 nights." "Cards declined now," Hollis replied, crossing his arms. "Cash or you leave." Jordan stepped up, anger flashing. Hollis snapped, "Don't take that tone with me, boy." The echo of Crow's voice from the diner cut through Jordan's spine. Renee recognized the pattern. This wasn't business. It was pressure. "We'll go," she said, voice tight. Hollis smiled. 30 minutes, Hollis said, enjoying it. The door shut. Hard. Renee exhaled once, then moved fast. "Pack," she ordered softly. "We don't give them a scene." They drove to other motels, each suddenly full, despite empty parking lots. Streetlights watched them like indifferent eyes. Jordan's shoulders sagged. They're closing every door, he whispered. At a gas station SUV idling, Jordan finally asked, small-voiced, "What do we do?" Renee stared ahead, thinking like a teacher and a wife. Survive first, then fight. A gentle tap on the window made them both flinch. A black woman in her 50s stood there with cautious kindness, hands raised to show peace. Renee lowered the window slightly. "I'm Keisha Dawson," she said quietly. "I own the Freedom Cup Cafe downtown. I saw what happened this morning, and I've been looking for you." Renee's grip tightened on the wheel. "Why?" Keisha glanced around the lot, careful. "Because I recognized your husband, and because I know what Carver and his deputies do." Keisha named the pattern like she'd read their minds. Blocked calls, declined cards, no vacancy lies. "I've got food in my car," she said, "and somewhere safe tonight." Jordan hesitated. "Won't you get in trouble?" Keisha's smile turned fierce. "I've been documenting Carver's abuse for 3 years. Your husband's case could finally crack him." Keisha gestured to her sedan. "Follow me." Renee searched her face, reading sincerity and steel. After a long day of shut doors, one opening felt like oxygen. Renee nodded once. They followed Keisha through dark streets. Her taillights guided them like a promise. Renee felt the first stir of hope since the diner. Quiet, fragile, but alive. Morning light filtered through curtains in Keisha's apartment above her cafe. A table overflowed with manila folders and clippings. Fresh coffee and biscuits filled the air with comfort. 3 years of incidents, Keisha explained. Violent stops, overnight jail stays, people fired after filing complaints. She spread photos across the table, each one a warning and a plie. Renee lifted a picture of a bruised young man. "Why hasn't anyone stopped this?" Keisha poured coffee slowly. "Yet Carver's tied in with politicians, judges, business owners, everybody." Jordan leaned forward. "But you kept collecting anyway." Keisha's voice hardened. "After they framed my nephew, we had video, then it vanished from evidence. They cleared themselves." Keisha unlocked her phone and pulled up grainy diner footage. Even shaky, it showed everything that mattered. Crow grabbing Jordan, Andre controlling him, and Crow escalating anyway. "This is what we need," Renee said, voice steady despite shaking hands. "But we need a lawyer who won't fold when Carver squeezes." Jordan spoke up immediately. "Cousin Lionel." "Lionel Price," Jordan insisted, "civil rights cases in Atlanta, far enough that Carver can't lean on him as easily." Renee was already dialing, breath held like a prayer. The call rang. Once. Twice. Renee stared at the screen like she could will it to answer. Keisha watched quietly, understanding the weight of one connection in a rigged town. Unlike the night before, the line didn't die. It clicked, alive. Renee's throat tightened. "Lionel," she said fast. "It's Renee Vaughn. We need your help. Andre's been taken." Renee explained Oakwood County, Deputy Crow, Sheriff Carver, the off-grid County 4 station, and Andre being held without charges. Lionel's tone sharpened from confusion to alarm. "They're isolating you," Lionel said. "That's deliberate." Renee swallowed hard. "They already forced us out of the motel." Keisha slid another folder forward. "We've got patterns." Lionel listened, asking tight questions. Dates, names, plate numbers, where Andre was last seen, who threatened what. Renee answered like a teacher giving a report. Clear, exact, controlled. Keisha added, "I've documented Carver for 3 years. Witnesses, disappearances, intimidation." Lionel exhaled sharply. "Good. Evidence is armor." Keep every video backed up. Jordan's voice shook with anger. They cuffed him after he protected me. Lionel replied, I hear you, but we move smart. Don't give them anything to twist. Renee stared at the folders, then at the grainy diner clip again. They can't just bury him, she said. Keisha answered softly. They can try. That's why we don't let them. Lionel's voice turned firm, courtroom ready. I'm filing emergency motion today. I want names of every officer present, and I want that video sent securely. Multiple copies, multiple places. Renee nodded, even though Lionel couldn't see it. Jordan already began uploading files, hands steadying, as purpose replaced panic. Keisha watched them work, approving, like a commander. Lionel continued, if they deny counsel, we escalate to federal attention. Renee felt tears threaten, shoved them down. Tell me what to do. Just tell me the steps. First, Lionel said, you stay safe. Second, you document everything. Third, you do not go alone to any station. Jordan clenched his jaw. So we wait? We prepare, Lionel corrected. Keisha leaned in, voice low. I've got contacts who hate Carver but stayed quiet. Your husband being a decorated veteran changes the optics. People may finally talk. Lionel agreed. Pressure breaks secrecy. He told Renee to write a timeline, minute by minute, and promised he'd start making calls that Oakwood County couldn't silence. Nitoan Testan. Renee looked at Jordan, then at the video again, remembering Crow's grip, Andre's restraint, Carver's cold instructions. They thought fear would make us disappear, she whispered. It won't. Lionel said, good, hold on to that. I'm coming at this from every angle. Civil rights, unlawful detention, intimidation, obstruction. They picked the wrong family to bully. Jordan finally sat down, trembling energy easing into focus. Dad told me to breathe and document, he said. Renee squeezed his shoulder. And now we add Lionel to the fight. Keisha started organizing folders into piles. Witnesses, videos, dates, names. Like building a case brick by brick. The room felt different now. Still afraid, but no longer powerless. Lionel instructed them to keep phones charged and location sharing on, and to avoid public posts until evidence was secured. We want courtrooms, not comment sections, he warned. Renee agreed. Understood. Keisha nodded. We've been waiting for someone who'll actually swing back with the law. Jordan looked up. So, we can bring Carver down? Keisha's eyes narrowed with conviction. If we do this right, yes, Lionel added. It won't be fast, but it will be thorough, and they won't like daylight. Renee's voice steadied, stronger than it had been in the motel. Andre is disciplined. He'll survive. Our job is making sure he's not erased, Keisha murmured. Exactly. Lionel asked for Andre's full service details, units, commendations, contacts, so he could alert the right advocates. Renee provided them carefully, refusing to let emotion blur facts. Keisha slid a thick folder toward the phone. Start with this, she said. Traffic stops, planted evidence, threats. Every incident ties back to Carver or Crow. Lionel went quiet, reading. This is systemic, Lionel finally said, voice tight. Not just one bad morning. Keisha answered, That's what I've been screaming into the wind for 3 years. Lionel told them, We'll turn that wind into subpoenas. Jordan exhaled a shaky laugh that wasn't humor, relief that someone powerful finally believed them. Renee replayed the diner video again, watching Crow's hand on Jordan's arm, Andre's controlled response, Carver's quiet threat. She whispered, They started this. We finish it. Lionel said, Send the footage now. Then we lock your timeline, gather sworn statements, and force a judge to look at what they tried to hide. Renee nodded. Jordan hit send. The call stayed connected, steady, unbroken, alive. Lionel's voice sharpened with certainty. "Renee, I'm on it. We're going to find Andre, and we're going to make Oakwood answer." Lionel Price's voice was so sharp, Renee put him on speaker. "That's unlawful. They must charge Andre or release him within 48 hours. Sheriff Wade Carver is keeping it off record." Keisha Dawson cut in, calm but urgent. "I've documented similar detentions for years." Lionel paused, recognition clicking. "Ms. Dawson, yes, your work's credible. Pattern evidence plus diner footage could be explosive." "First priority is getting Andre out," Lionel said. "I'll file emergency motions in Atlanta today. Meanwhile, go to the jail, request access, and document every denial, every name." They ended the call, and Keisha stood instantly. "I'll drive. They know my sedan, so it looks normal. Your SUV screams outsiders." Renee nodded, jaw clenched, and climbed in. The county jail squatted outside town. Brick, chain link, razor wire. The lot sat nearly empty. A few patrol cars, one prisoner transport van, and silence that felt like a warning. Inside, fluorescent lights buzzed as they approached the desk. A deputy glanced up lazily, then stiffened when he saw Keisha. "We're here to visit Andre Vaughn," Renee said, voice steel. The deputy lifted his phone without breaking eye contact. Heavy steps thundered down the corridor. Sheriff Wade Carver appeared, badge gleaming, wearing the same cold half-smile from the diner. "Mrs. Vaughn," Carver drawled, "your husband isn't available." Renee didn't blink. "He has a right to see his family." Carver's smile held. "Not under investigation. No visitors." "Investigation for what?" Jordan, fist tight, stepped forward. "You haven't charged him." Carver's eyes slid to Jordan, something dangerous flashing. Watch your tone in my jail, boy." Renee's hand anchored Jordan's shoulder, feeling the tension vibrate. Keisha moved closer, a silent shield. "We have counsel," Renee said evenly. "He's filing motions today in Atlanta." "File whatever," Carver shrugged, smugness polished. "Mr. Vaughn remains unavailable." Jordan's knuckles went white, but Renee squeezed, because the denial itself was evidence, exactly what they needed. Still standing there, watching Carver saber control, while Andre sat somewhere unseen, took every ounce of Renee's discipline not to scream. She swallowed it whole and stored it as fuel, 8 by 10. Andre measured the cell in heel-toe steps within his first hour. No window, just a narrow door slot leaking strips of corridor fluorescence, like prison daylight. Bleach and old concrete coated the AIR. Andre sat cross-legged on a thin mattress, back straight, hands relaxed. To the corner camera, he looked broken, exactly the picture they wanted. But his mind ran like a radar sweep. Sounds, rhythms, details. Tap, 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 heavy boots, male guard favoring his left leg. Lunch earlier, turkey sandwich, no mayo, offered like charity. Andre mapped distances, 300-plus steps from main security to his door, 2 checkpoint gates between. The camera whirred, adjusting. He noted the sweep interval, 47 seconds, 3-second pause. Loose housing, likely years of humidity and neglect. Small detail, life-saving detail. Andre closed his eyes, meditating. In truth, he built a blueprint. Rotations every 8 hours, 3 distinct gait patterns, limping guard with strict timing, younger guard who loitered, dragging feet, night shift guy with squeaky boots and a country whistle. Ventilation kicked on, 17 seconds of rattling cover. Andre spotted a loose bed frame wire during inspection, 6 inches of thin metal, nearly invisible. When vents hummed again, he shifted like stretching, then extracted the wire with practiced precision. He hit it against his palm and resumed stillness. Squeak, squeak, night shift starting early. Andre waited through 3 camera sweeps, timing breath and movement to the ventilation's 17-second thunder. Bent just right, the wire could create a subtle camera distortion, nothing obvious, but enough to form a blind smear at the edge of the lens. Andre pictured Renee and Jordan, fear, fury, restraint. He kept his face neutral. Cameras always watched. Tap, shuffle, tap, new footsteps, unfamiliar rhythm. Keys jingled. The food slot scraped open and a tray slid in with controlled precision. "Ai chow time," a voice said, quiet, crisp, with military cadence, not local swagger. Andre didn't flinch. "Roger that," he replied, matching tone. "Test? Message?" The shadow lingered. The voice dropped to a whisper. "I know who you are." Andre stayed still, every nerve alive. "3rd Battalion, 2nd Marines, Afghanistan, 009. We heard stories about you." Down the corridor, guards chatted, unaware. The camera swept again. The voice murmured, "Don't quit. Some of us are still watching." The slot closed softly. Footsteps retreated, measured, careful. Andre lifted the tray, noticing the sandwich placed off-center, hiding something. Beneath it, folded paper, fortune slip, small. He palmed it smoothly, using his body to block the camera's angle. Ventilation kicked in. 17 seconds. Andre used 12 to secure the wire, creating a faint blur in the sweep. The remaining seconds were enough to hide the paper inside a mattress, seam tear. Night fell outside. He couldn't see it, but he felt it in shifting rhythms. He stayed in meditation posture. Submission was camouflage. Every still moment was calculation, not surrender. Best position is the one your enemy doesn't know you're taking. That SEAL lesson played on repeat. Squeaky boots approached on schedule. Andre counted steps, added them to the mental map. The corner camera continued its sweep, now subtly distorted in ways only Andre recognized. He waited, patient and primed, as the jail settled into its nighttime routine, like a predator returning to a den. Downtown, Keisha's cafe was closed, but light spilled from its windows. Upstairs, she sat with Renee and Jordan at a small table, laptop open, the diner video paused mid-grab. "Are we sure?" Renee asked, hands tight on cooling tea. "What if they retaliate harder?" Keisha's eyes didn't waver. "They already are. Keeping Andre off books is retaliation." Jordan leaned forward, face lit by the screen. "Post it, Ms. Dawson. People need the truth." The clip showed Deputy Harlan Crow grabbing Jordan, Andre's controlled restraint, and the moment credentials spilled. Keisha inhaled, clicked upload. Rural internet crawled. The progress bar felt like torture. When it finally completed, she shared everywhere: X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, every digital door she could kick open. "Now we wait," Keisha said, but the world didn't wait. Within an hour, views multiplied. Comments flooded. "That cop targeted a black teen." Father stayed calm. Special training. "Where is he now?" Renee's phone buzzed, non-stop. Friends, strangers, veterans. The cafe line rang. Reporters from Atlanta wanted names, dates, details. Jordan scrolled, eyes wide. "It's working, we're trending." Keisha's laptop chimed with emails. Local stations, national networks, online outlets. Everyone wanted the same thing. An interview with the family, on record, with the video playing beside them. "We have to choose smart," Keisha warned. "Right outlet, right framing." She stopped on one message. News One South covered misconduct before. They won't soften it for a sheriff. Renee read the email, heart thudding. Live Zoom interview, prime time, video included. She lifted her chin. I'll do it. They need to know who they tried to erase. They rehearsed for hours. Keisha coached Renee. Stick to facts, breathe through emotion, name the violations. Jordan gathered photos. Andre in uniform, medal ceremonies, retirement portrait. Proof no spin could bury. The interview was set for 9 p.m. They used Keisha's office. Clean backdrop, steady lighting. Renee wore her best blazer. Under the desk, her hands trembled. Above it, she looked unbreakable. The host appeared. We're joined by Renee Vaughn, wife of retired Navy SEAL Andre Vaughn, detained after a racially charged incident. Renee met the camera like it was a courtroom. She told the story clean and sharp. The diner, the grab, the threats, the off-grid County 4 hold. She emphasized Andre's restraint, control, not chaos, training that prevented bloodshed. The host leaned in. Your husband's military background? That was the planned turn. Renee nodded once. Jordan sent files. The screen filled with Andre in dress blues, ribbons blazing. Photos showed Andre shaking hands with presidents, standing beside honored veterans. SEAL team shots with faces blurred for security. He served 20 years, Renee said. Silver Star, Bronze Star with valor. And now, Renee continued, voice steady, he's held without charges because he protected our son from harassment. Social media detonated. Viewership surged past 100,000, then 500,000. Hashtags multiplied. Unseal Justice, Guy Free Andre Vaughn, Jas Badge Abuse. Veterans groups reposted. Civil rights orgs amplified. The story spread faster than any county sheriff could outrun with threats. In Keisha's office, they watched numbers rise like a storm tide. Jordan showed Renee his phone. Oakwood County is trending nationwide. Renee stared, imagining Andre unaware inside that concrete box. The host asked, what do you want people to know about your husband? Renee looked into the lens. Behind her, Keisha and Jordan stood like sentinels. The truth is out. No going back. Across town, Sheriff Wade Carver watched the interview replay, jaw locked. Deputy Crow paced like a caged animal. 500,000 views, Carver muttered, clicking social post and climbing. He slammed the laptop shut. This ends now. Minutes later, Carver's cruiser rolled up to Keisha's cafe. Morning sun stretched shadows long across the street, like the town itself was holding breath. Inside, Keisha prepped for breakfast rush. The bell chimed. Her shoulders stiffened when Carver stepped in, smiling without warmth. We're not open yet, Sheriff. Carver strolled, inspecting tables. Nice place, he said, finger tracing a surface. Shame if the health department found violations. Keisha kept wiping, deliberate. Everything's up to code. Passed inspection last month. Inspections change, Carver murmured. So do property tax records. Keisha faced him. I'm not behind. Carver's tone stayed friendly sharp. Computers glitch, especially for troublemakers. Keisha's hand tightened on the cloth. Are you threatening me? Carver tilted his head. Just talking civic responsibility. He flashed her social posts on his phone. Spreading misinformation hurts businesses. You mean the truth? Keisha said, steady. Carver's smile sharpened. Speaking of truth, Crow's body cam tells a different story. It's being released right now. Official evidence beats shaky phones. As if cued, Keisha's phone buzzed. Local site posted grainy footage showing Andre lunging. Angles felt wrong, audio scratchy. Keisha's eyes narrowed. That's not what happened. It's edited. Carver straightened, satisfied. Official evidence, he repeated. Outside, a news van pulled up. He leaned close. Choose your words, Ms. Dawson. Businesses need community support to survive. Carver walked out as reporters set up. Keisha's phone kept buzzing. Witnesses from the diner texting inconsistencies. Wrong lighting. Missing background sounds. Table layout off. Keisha screenshotted everything. Across town, 2 men in plain suits checked into a motel under forgettable names. Their credentials, hidden, identified them as FBI agents. They'd arrived separately, unmarked cars, low profile. The younger agent opened a laptop, connecting to a secure line. Sheriff's controlling the narrative. The older agent nodded. DOJ wants this quiet for now. Observe, document, build. They pulled Deputy Crow's file. Complaints buried, witnesses pressured, patterns repeating. The younger agent whistled. 15 years of this. The older agent replied, not anymore. Forensics will flag tampering. In Andre's cell, he sensed new movement. Footsteps with different weight, different discipline. The friendly guard passed. A note slid under the door with lunch. They're here. Be ready. Andre read it once, then tore it to confetti, mixing scraps with food waste, no trace. He ate slowly, methodically. Patience was a weapon. Outside, fear was finally starting to shift. Sheriff Carver stormed into the jail, face red with rage. He punched an emergency lockdown code. Nobody in or out. Seal exterior doors. No lawyers. No press. He barked at deputies. He dialed fast, voice trembling. Prep the transport van. We're moving the seal. Alarms blared. Metal doors slammed shut. Radios crackled with confusion and panic that tasted like desperation. In his cell, Andre sat perfectly still, counting rushing feet. 3 guards east, 2 to main entrance. Heavier boots near the control room. Carver pacing. They were trying to relocate him. The friendly guard, badge read Benton Hale, mid-40s, appeared at Andre's door performing routine for cameras. Medical check in 10, Hale announced loudly, then whispered, Feds at front. Carver's moving you out. Back. Andre gave a barely visible nod. He'd mapped every corridor, every gate, every blind patch. Now the map mattered. 5 minutes later, he began the performance, staggering, breath ragged, tray clattering. Prisoner down, Hale shouted right on cue. 2 deputies rushed in. Then Carver himself, hungry for control. Andre lay clutching his chest. Perfect imitation of distress. Perfect bait for arrogance. Infirmary, quiet, Carver ordered. They cuffed Andre before lifting him. Hale and another deputy supported him down the hall. Andre kept his head low, counting steps like a metronome. 2 checkpoints passed. 10 steps to the security panel controlling East Wing. Andre's body stayed weak until the final moment. Then he straightened, violence avoided, precision unleashed. He drove an elbow back into the second deputy's solar plexus. Clean, controlled, drop without damage. Spinning, even cuffed, Andre used Hale as a shield from Carver's reaching hand. The panel, Andre snapped. Hale didn't hesitate. He slammed the emergency override code. Doors unlocked. Alarms screamed. Carver reached for his weapon, too slow. Andre swept his legs, sending him down. Carver's head struck the wall, dazed. Then a voice echoed, Federal agents! Heavy boots thundered. FBI team moved in with practiced efficiency. Clear, clear. Cameras began flashing beyond the doors. They found Andre standing calm by the panel. Hale beside him, hands raised. Carver groaned on the floor, gun kicked away. The lead agent flashed a badge. Mr. Vaughn, we've been looking for you. Took your time, Andre replied evenly. Agents photographed everything: codes, cuffs, bruises, doors. One checked Carver's injury, while another radioed backup. The media gathered like vultures at daylight. Ready to walk out? The agent asked, producing a cuff key. Andre shook his head. Leave them on. Let the world see how they held me. The agent nodded, understanding the optics. They escorted Andre through the main entrance, still cuffed, flanked by federal badges. Reporters shouted questions. Andre kept walking, chin up, letting cold steel speak louder than any statement. Behind them, agents let out Sheriff Carver in cuffs too, face twisted with rage. From the doorway, Officer Hale watched with a tiny, relieved smile. Sometimes justice needed an insider to crack the door. Through the crowd, Andre spotted Renee and Jordan pushing forward, relief and fire mixing on their faces. Andre stayed composed. Discipline mattered most now. Cameras captured everything: the hero and the handcuffs. Reporters yelled, "How long were you held without charges?" "Were you denied counsel?" Andre didn't stop. His silence was strategic. Every frame showed the truth. A decorated veteran treated like contraband. In a hotel room, Jordan watched breaking news, gripping Renee's hand. On screen, Andre approached a podium. Flashbulbs burst like lightning. Andre wore dress blues, medals and ribbons catching hard studio light. Jordan's chest tightened with pride and pain. "He looks unbreakable," Renee whispered, wiping tears. Andre adjusted the microphone, eyes calm but burning. The room hushed as his voice filled it. "Good afternoon," Andre began. "I'm Senior Chief Andre Vaughn, U.S. Navy, retired." He spoke of deployments, brothers lost, blood given, then the punch. "And I was illegally detained at home." Cameras clicked nonstop. "They didn't break me," Andre continued, gaze sweeping. "But they've been breaking people like me for generations, quietly behind badges, in places where cameras fail." Jordan cried openly, remembering helpless motel nights. "For 3 days," Andre said. "No charges, no lawyer, just threats and assumptions." His measured tone carried steel beneath the calm. Sheriff Wade Carver and Deputy Harlan Crow thought their badges made them untouchable, Andre said. They thought they could bury one more incident, silence one more family, break one more man. The camera cut to Keisha in the back, nodding once. Community members stood with her, faces shaped by years of swallowed injustice. Andre lifted his chin. "But they miscalculated badly." "They assumed I'd settle and disappear," Andre said. "That's not how I was trained. That's not how I raised my son." An attorney stepped up beside him, holding a thick packet of filings. "Today we're announcing a federal civil rights lawsuit," Andre declared, "against the sheriff's office, Oakwood County, and Crow. Not just for me, for every illegal stop, planted charge, buried complaint." Reporters erupted with questions. Andre raised one hand for quiet. "We have evidence," he said. "Witness statements, digital records, tampered footage, and years of documentation by citizens like Keisha Dawson." In the back row, Crow's lawyer typed furiously. Sheriff Carver was absent. Federal custody. Andre continued. "They offered me money to stay quiet. I refused. Accountability is the point." "This isn't about a payout," Andre said. "It's about a father not watching his child get profiled. It's about families not wondering if loved ones are beaten in off-grid cells." In the hotel room, Renee paced, nerves buzzing. "They'll come at us harder," she said. Jordan lifted his chin. "They already did. Now they don't get shadows, they get daylight." Andre's words landed like hammers. To those suffering silently, I see you. You're not alone. And to those abusing authority, thinking nobody will stand up, pick someone else. We're done hiding. The attorney handled questions, but cameras stayed on Andre. Steady, unmoved. This was a new battlefield. Legal, public, relentless. Andre knew campaigns. He'd trained for long wars. That evening, Keisha locked her cafe and froze. Red spray paint slashed her front window. Racial slurs, crude threats. Inside, chairs overturned, dishes shattered, an intimidation message delivered by cowards. Earlier, a staged customer fight wrecked her dining room. Police arrived late, wrote almost nothing. Keisha photographed every inch, hands shaking, resolve hardening. Fear was the product. They'd stop buying it. Across town, Jordan walked home from the library, backpack heavy with engineering books. Streetlights flickered. Movement peeled from a doorway. 3 white teens, bats and pipes, grinning like permission was granted. Jordan recognized one. Cole Henderson, deputy's son, 19 now, older than the rumors said. Your daddy's lawsuit got folks mad, Cole sneered, tapping pipe to palm. Time you learned respect. Jordan set his bag down and raised his hands. Stance his father drilled. Light feet, chin tucked, eyes wide. First swing came wild. Jordan slipped, drove an elbow to ribs, dropped one attacker, fast. Cole swung a bat. Pain exploded across Jordan's shoulder. Jordan staggered, but stayed upright. Third attacker rushed. Jordan grabbed the pipe, redirected momentum, sent him sprawling. Cole snarled, swinging again. The bat clipped Jordan's temple. Blood blurred his vision. The world tilted. Jordan pushed through. Fear wasn't weakness. It was information. He tackled Cole, crashing them both onto the pavement. Jordan landed 2 punches, then metal slammed into his back. Stars burst behind his eyes. Kicks rained. A car horn blared. Headlights swept the street. The attackers scattered, leaving Jordan curled and bleeding. "Jordan!" Keisha's voice cracked as she jumped out of her car. She pressed cloth to his head, calling an ambulance and Renee. Jordan tried to smile through pain. I remembered the stance. Emergency room lights burned harsh white. Doctors murmured concussion protocols, x-rays, contusions, defensive wounds. Jordan drifted in and out until he woke to Andre sitting bedside, holding his hand. Andre's face was stone, eyes storm. "This isn't your fault," he said quietly. "It's theirs." Jordan swallowed. "I fought like you taught me." Andre squeezed his hand. "You did, but you shouldn't have had to." Outside the room, Renee's voice cut through officers' excuses, firm, controlled, teacher sharp. Jordan whispered, "They hit Keisha's place too." Andre's jaw tightened. "I know. She called us after she found you." "She's got security footage," Renee said, stepping in, eyes bright with anger. "Clear faces," Jordan murmured. Cole Henderson was there. He said the lawsuit was causing problems. Andre stared at the ceiling a long second. "They think violence makes us fold," he said. "It won't." A nurse adjusted Jordan's IV. The medicine fuzzed edges, but Jordan forced clarity. "Dad, are we doing the right thing?" Jordan asked, voice small under pain. Andre didn't hesitate. "People were already getting hurt. We're just refusing to pretend. Doing right sometimes means walking through fire." Jordan closed his eyes, anchored by Andre's hand. Under pain lived pride and purpose. Across town, Sheriff Carver paced his office, frantic. Outside, a crowd of hired supporters waved signs chanting on cue. "Keep them visible," Carver barked into his phone. I want cameras seeing real citizens against this agitator. Deputy Henderson hovered, sweating. My boy Cole, there's video, Carver snapped. Handle your mess. On courthouse steps, Carver played concerned public servant. We're facing troubled times, he told microphones, voice honey slick. Protesters cheered with printed signs, back the badge, stop outsiders, lies in bold letters. 2 blocks away, an FBI surveillance van recorded everything. Agent Sabrina Chen adjusted headphones. Carver's mic picked up what cameras didn't, his muttered contempt, his paid crowd instructions, his slipping control. Carver ducked behind a pillar, phone to ear. I don't care how, he hissed. Make that seal problem disappear like the others. Chen's eyes narrowed. Her partner typed fast. That's conspiracy. Chen transmitted the recording to Atlanta. Execute now, came the reply. FBI vehicles screamed around the corner, lights flashing. Protesters scattered instantly, bravery evaporating when accountability arrived with federal badges. Carver reached for his gun, then froze as agents surrounded him. Sheriff Wade Carver, Chen announced through a megaphone, you're under arrest for civil rights violations, corruption, and conspiracy. Hands up! Carver tried. This is a mistake, voice shaking. I'm the law. An agent snapped cuffs tight. Not today. A phone played Carver's recorded threat aloud. The square went silent as his ugliness echoed. Across town, Deputy Crow saw the livestream and went pale. He fled, gas station, then highway, trying to outrun consequences. A cashier called the federal tip line. He's blue Dodge Ram, westbound, he's panicking. 2 hours later, tactical teams swarmed a truck stop across the state line. Crow ran 3 steps before asphalt kissed his face. Back in Oakwood, people watched Carver's perp walk replay like a spell-breaking. Months later, Oakwood looked different. New leadership, community meetings, real oversight. Keisha's Cafe wore a mural of courage. Jordan graduated, scholarship secured. Andre and Renee watched their son pack for college. Andre's voice closed the story like a vow. Justice isn't something you beg for. It's something you take back, inch by inch, truth by truth. Stay safe, stay loud, and I'll see you next time. Calm is not weakness, it's a shield you choose on purpose. If you're 65 or older, you've lived long enough to know that trouble doesn't always announce itself with shouting. Sometimes it arrives with a polite smile, a clean uniform, and a question that isn't really a question at all. In Oakwood County, it started in a diner that smelled like bacon and old coffee. One of those places where the booths are worn smooth by decades of locals who believe the room belongs to them. Andre Vonson walked in with his wife and son expecting breakfast, not a confrontation. But the moment Deputy Crow clocked them as outsiders, the air changed. Many of you recognize that shift. It's the same cold pressure you might have felt in the past when you realized you were being judged before you spoke a word. Andre's first act of strength wasn't fighting. It was staying steady. He watched angles. He kept his voice level. He coached his son to breathe and focus. That matters, especially for older folks who understand that panic can turn one bad moment into a tragedy that never leaves your family. When Crow grabbed Jordan's arm, Andre didn't explode. He moved like someone trained not for anger, but for survival. Precise, controlled, and measured. That's a lesson for all of us, especially those who've raised children and grandchildren and know that the best way to protect them isn't always to win a scene. Sometimes it's to deny the other person the chaos they're trying to create. But this story also shows the hard truth. Calm won't always save you from injustice. Andre's composure didn't stop the cuffs. It didn't stop Sheriff Carver from ordering him into an off-grid hold where cameras fail and paperwork disappears. That's the frightening part, because many older Americans believed we had moved past the days of people being swallowed by the system without answers. Yet the Vaughn family discovered what many communities have quietly known. A badge can be used like a weapon, and the most dangerous part is how normal it can look to everyone else. So the lesson isn't stay calm and everything will be fine. The lesson is stay calm because you may need your mind sharper than ever. In moments like that, your composure becomes your oxygen. Your steady breathing becomes your strategy. Your self-control becomes the line between going home and being turned into somebody's example. Community is the difference between being isolated and being saved. Older generations understand something younger people are still learning. Isolation is how powerful abusers win. Carver didn't just lock Andre up, he tried to lock the family out of help. Blocked calls, deadlines, declined cards, no vacancy at motels with empty parking lots. That wasn't random, that was a system closing ranks. And if you've ever lived through a time when folks didn't want trouble, you know how that works. People look away, doors close, and the victim starts to wonder if they're losing their mind. Then Keisha Dawson tapped on the SUV window. Gentle, careful, brave. That moment is the turning point, because it's what community looks like when it's real. Keisha didn't offer a speech. She offered food, shelter, evidence, and a plan. She had folders. She had a timeline. She had 3 years of receipts. And she had something even more valuable than courage. Consistency. This is where older Americans can nod in recognition. Change doesn't come from one heroic moment. It comes from people who keep showing up, one document at a time, one witness at a time, one saved video at a time, until the truth becomes too heavy to ignore. The Vaughns didn't get traction until the story had structure, names, dates, threats, the words County 4, and a clear record of denial. The video wasn't just outrage, it was proof. And once proof hit daylight, it moved faster than any small-town intimidation campaign could contain. That's also why Lionel Price mattered. A lawyer is not just a professional, he's leverage. He turned fear into filings. He turned "they can't do that" into "here's what we're going to do next." Older folks appreciate that kind of step-by-step clarity. You don't survive long life by wishing. You survive by planning. So here's the second lesson. Don't try to stand alone against a closed system. Build a circle. Keep your phones charged. Share your location. Back up your evidence. Get someone outside the town's influence. Community isn't just comfort, it's protection. Justice isn't a moment, it's a long fight you have to outlast. Many people want justice to look like a single scene, a confession, an arrest, a neat ending. But if you've lived through decades of America changing in slow, stubborn increments, you know the truth. Justice is usually a grind. Even after Andre walked out, the backlash came fast. Keisha's cafe vandalized, Jordan attacked, the intimidation shifting from badges to boys with bats who think they've been given permission. That's how systems defend themselves when they feel exposed. They outsource violence, then pretend they're shocked when it happens. The story teaches a third lesson. Older Americans know deep in their bones. If you want change, you have to be ready for the counterpunch. That means security cameras, sworn statements, medical records, consistent reporting. It means resisting the temptation to handle it quietly to get your life back. Because quiet is exactly what Carver counted on. Andre refused the hush money because he understood the real prize wasn't comfort, it was accountability. And when federal attention finally arrived, notice what mattered: documentation, patterns, and proof of tampering. That's how the walls cracked. Not by a rumor, not by one angry post, but by a case built like brickwork. Andre's discipline wasn't just physical, it was strategic. He chose optics. He chose patience. He chose a long war fought with truth. For those of you 65 and up, this lands differently. You think about legacy. You think about grandchildren. You think about whether the country is safer or just louder. This story says, the fight isn't over, but neither is your power. Your voice, your vote, your willingness to witness, your willingness to say, no, this is wrong, still matters. Justice is something you take back inch by inch, truth by truth, until the daylight stays on. After hearing Andre and Renee Vaughn's story, I want to ask you something personal. Have you ever witnessed a moment where authority crossed the line? And what did you do about it? Maybe it was years ago. Maybe it was recently. Maybe it happened to someone you love. Share your thoughts in the comments because your experience could help someone else recognize the signs and respond safely. If this story moved you, please hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We're building a community that chooses truth over silence. And tomorrow's story will bring another lesson worth passing on.